Alpine have been chopping and changing their personnel for so long, we really shouldn't be surprised at recent events. So Alpine's roots go all the way back to 1981 when they were first known as Tolman, but we're starting our timeline in 2021 when the Renault Group decided to use Alpine as their works team name, so Alpine F1 Team. So in 2021, the team had Esteban Ocon as their driver, they retained him and they brought on Fernando Alonso, who replaced Daniel Ricciardo. He was going to McLaren, and this would be Fernando Alonso's third time driving for Team Enstone. And remember, he won 2 championships with the team back when they were known as Renault in 2005 and 2006. In a shock departure, everybody's favorite team principal, Cyril Abiteboul, did leave his role as team principal because of the transition between Renault and Alpine, and we didn't officially get a replacement, but CEO Laurent Rossi did actually say that duties would be split between new recruit Davide Brivio, who was racing director, and Marcin Budkowski, who was a director. 2021 is the year that Esteban Ocon did win the Hungarian Grand Prix, and it gave me one of my favorite quotes from Fernando Alonso: "Tell Esteban to defend like a lion," but as a team, they came 5th in the standings. In the following year, 2022, both Esteban Ocon and Fernando Alonso were retained as drivers. However, Marcin Budkowski and non-exec director Alain Prost did leave their roles. Otmar Safnauer was recruited as the team principal, and Bruno Famin had also been recruited as an executive director. Oscar Piastri, who had been in the Alpine Academy from 2020, did actually replace Daniil Kvyat as a test driver. Overall, in that year, the team came 4th in the standings. 2023 is when the drama happens with Oscar Piastri. Technically, it happens in Q4 of 2022, but I've stuck it here. So the team retained Esteban Ocon. Fernando Alonso moves to Aston Martin. He was very happy about this because he didn't really get along with Esteban Ocon, but also Aston Martin were willing to give him a multi-year deal where Alpine weren't. The team then announced Oscar Piastri as the replacement for Fernando Alonso. Oscar Piastri via social media denies this. He's saying, "I'm not going to be driving for you." Chaos ensues. Otmar Safnauer says that Oscar Piastri should have more loyalty, but the Contract Regulation Authority in 2022 said that there was actually no valid contract between Oscar Piastri and Alpine. He then moves to McLaren. Alpine then announced Pierre Gasly on a multi-year deal contract to partner Esteban Ocon. This is also the year that we get that group of investors who paid 200 million euros for a 24% stake in Alpine. All is great. 2 French drivers driving for a French team. Absolutely beautiful. Nothing could ruin that, but could it? Remember CEO Laurent Rossi? Well, he was replaced by Philippe Krief. After the Belgian Grand Prix, both Otmar Safnauer and Alain Permain left their roles. Then, at the end of the year, CTO Pat Fry left his role to go to Williams. Alpine was 6th in the constructor standings, and the Renault power unit was said to be lagging by about half a second per lap. Terrible. On to 2024, the team retained Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly. Bruno Famin left his role as the team principal, and after the Bahrain Grand Prix, technical director Matt Harmon and head of Aero Dirk de Beer also left their roles. And this is when the team changed their structure, so they decided to have 3 technical directors, 1 person head of engineering, 1 person aero, and 1 person for performance. Not long after, Bob Bell left his advisory role to go to Aston Martin. David Sanchez was recruited in a executive director role, and then more shocking news, May of 2024, Flavio Briatore returned in an executive director role. Very controversial, but who cares about a little race fixing, right? It was actually during the Belgian Grand Prix where Bruno Famin left his role, and he was replaced by Oli Oaks as team principal. And Brazil 2024 was great for the team because Esteban Ocon came in P2, Pierre Gasly P3. Their post-race interviews, beautiful. It was their first double podium since the Korean Grand Prix in 2013, where they were known as Lotus. Despite the great result, for the final race, Esteban Ocon was actually released from the team, so he departed his role. We know that he was going to Haas, and he was replaced by Jack Doohan, and Jack actually had a contract for 2025, so, you know, it made sense, I guess, to give him an early race. And on to this year, 2025, so the year started with Pierre Gasly and Jack Doohan, but before the season even started, there were rumours that Jack Doohan would only get 6 races, and that is because Flavio Briatore was impressed by Franco Colapinto when Franco actually took over Logan Sargent's role in the Williams the year prior, so there were rumours about Jack's seat. We've not actually spoken about reserve drivers too much, but Jack Doohan was a reserve driver. We now have Paul Aaron, Kush Maini, Rio Hirakawa, and we did have Franco Colapinto, but that has all changed after the Miami Grand Prix. So after Miami, Ollie Oaks resigned as team principal due to personal reasons, and essentially his brother William Oaks was in in a scandal. He was arrested. Doesn't matter for this. So Ollie Oakes has gone, and he wasn't necessarily replaced by Flavio Briatore, but the team said that Flavio would take on his duties the day after it was announced that Jack Doohan was dropped from the main driver and he was to be replaced by Franco Colapinto. But it does seem that this seat is on a rotating basis perhaps. So Franco will debut at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix and he will race for at least 5 races. So this seat, not really sure what's happening, but for now, Jack Doohan has actually been demoted to reserve driver. And in 2026, who knows what will happen in terms of personnel, but we do know the team will not be using Renault engines. So they will lose their status as a works team because they will actually become a Mercedes customer team. Let's just say within Team Enstone, and for many years, there has been a lot of chopping and changing.